welcome back, and you're still watching Breakfast Show on Nile TV International, and it's time for our second segment, and it's time to learn more about the challenge which took place recently in Hurghada between the 10th and the 12th of this month, and it's called the Global Hybrid Electric Challenge, and it was a challenge for university students majoring in engineering, science and marketing, and mainly engineering and science universities. More than 100 or almost 150 students from 10 Egyptian universities participated in it, and the idea was to utilize the energy that they were given, and it's mainly concentrating on the idea of renewable energy to reach innovative solutions in terms of the electric cars. And joining me right now in the studio, I have with me Mr. Mohamed Shtta, and he's an automotive expert as well as one of the students of one of the universities which participated in that competition, which is the South Valley University, Mr. Mohamed Ali, and welcome with us in the studio.
Well, thank you again for having us.
Welcome.
Okay, Mr. Ahmed, I'm gonna start with you. And how did the South Valley University heard about this competition, and how did you prepare for it?
Well, we heard about this competition through the internet, and the first event of it was in Dubai in 2014, and we had a big desire to join this competition. Automatically, when we knew that the next event will be held in Egypt, we go to our professor, Mr. Ghazali, and asked him that we want to join this event. We find him so willing, and he asked us to know all the conditions of the competition and know everything about it. We searched up for the conditions, and we find it, and we sent them that we want to join. They answered us that they want from them the names of the team members, and we sent them back the names and a picture of us, and we won.
Now, actually, the competition itself consists of almost what we can call, it's actually 2 days or 2 phases, but we can say that it's 3 sections, because we have the Grand Prix, and that was the first day where the motor cars ran on electric power only, and that was for almost an hour and a half. Then we had the second phase, and that was where they used the hybrid, which is a mixture of using the electric power as well as the petrol to generate, or to help the charger generate more electricity. Then finally, the average of both competitions, that determined another winner. So there were actually 3 prizes. Now, actually, your university, during the second day, actually it was ahead, first place, but then you came out at the end second. What happened?
Yeah, in the first race, the first day was electrical race, and we had a problem with the batteries, as our car worked with only 3 batteries, and that problem came from that it was actually a financial problem. In the preparing of the competition, one of the rules is that the driver had to be 80 kilograms. The first driver we had, he needed about 21.5 kilograms to add in the car. And after we do all the things, we found that the budget is finished, our budget is finished. So we had to use sandbags, and as we know that the density of the sand is so low compared with a metal. So you can imagine how big is 21.5 kilograms of sand. That makes the technical problem, made our car work with only 3 batteries. So we took the first place in the first racing car, and then we had only 2 hours to fix this problem in the garage. We made it, and we were ready for the second race. It's the hybrid race for 3 hours. In the hybrid race, we got the first place. As we solved all the problem, and we actually proud of this. Then the overall of the competition, we became the second overall of the competition.
Let me add allow me to add something.
Yes.
The fact that in almost every racing series, the race is usually divided to two races, race one and race two, for example, like it's the case in the DTM or other international racing series. So they were very lucky, and they did a very impressive performance actually to win ahead of all the other universities, despite the fact that they had the least financial support of all of them. This is number one. Number two, they also lacked a technical advisor, because they were, of course, the university is located so far away from Cairo. So there were a couple of technical advisors who went to the other universities around Cairo and inside Cairo. And they went and helped the students there to give them some advice and things like that. Unfortunately, the gentlemen at South Valley Qana University did not have the opportunity of having a technical advisor advising them. Nevertheless, they won the first race. So this itself is an achievement, and the fact that the kit, you know, that all these cars have the standard technical specifications. It's the same frame, it's the same electric engine, it's the same hybrid engine, and they received them only how many days before the race?
We just had 4 days before the race.
4 days, something like that. So and the others, of course, they received them. They had a couple of days more time to prepare their cars. So actually, what they did was quite impressive, and I hope that they will be able actually to go and compete in Abu Dhabi next month, because actually only one company so far was ready to sponsor the winner of the competition to go compete in the name of Egypt at this international competition in Abu Dhabi. And the governor of the Red Sea, I don't remember his name. He promised that he will do his best to enable the second place, which was South Valley, as well as the third place was Benha, if I'm not mistaken.
Ain Shams University.
Ain Shams was the first, and you were second, and the third.
The video where the governor here?
Exactly. This is the video where the governor promised, actually, in front of all the media, of all the attending media and all the guests, that he will do his most and talk to the highest authorities in the country to facilitate and enable the second place, which was South Valley, and the third place to go also and join the first winner, Ain Shams University, at the competition in Abu Dhabi. Unfortunately, if I'm not mistaken, he did not fulfill his promises yet. So I hope that during the next couple of days, he will be able to make a few important phone calls, and because I mean, this is.
It's too soon. It's been only a couple of days, you know.
No, actually, it's not been a couple of days. It's been already almost 10 days, right?
Yeah.
Something like this. So he should have at least made a couple of phone calls. And actually, he said while he was doing his speech, he said that while he was sitting and watching the prize ceremony, he already did some phone calls. So I mean, I hope. I'm taking it very serious, because he promised the young students, and I think it's a very silly budget. I mean, we're talking about a couple of £1,000, but it is really very important to encourage those young students, and I'm sure that Egypt has, I mean, we're not talking about sponsors. I'm talking about the official authorities, like the different ministries. I mean, they should be able to facilitate the tickets and the accommodation for 5 to 10 students to go and compete. In addition, next to the students of Ain Shams University. So, Mr. Governor, I'm taking you by your word. So. I'm waiting. They are waiting for your phone call.
Okay, Mr. Mohamed, of course, the cars that our cars that works with oil and
Yes.
petrol and gas, and the prices of the oil all over the world coming up and down, and analysts and experts are saying the future is not for the oil, because it will, by time it will go. Yes. Do you believe it's the future for electric cars?
Of course. I mean, this trend has been started already 10, 15, 20 years ago. Unfortunately, as I mentioned in the first segment of the show, we lack a vision in many things, not only in the sector of tourism, but also in the sector of environment and in the sector of transportation and mobility. Even the oil countries like the United Arab Emirates, for example, they have already established one of the biggest pollution-free and CO2-free cities in the UAE, and they have been hosting so many different energy conferences, actually like the one which was attended by President Sisi just a couple of months ago. So they know exactly in which direction the trend is going. We need the technology of hybrid and electric cars more than anyone else in the world, because actually, first of all, the weather we have is the most ideal weather we have for electric. Not actually for electric. It's more convenient for solar driven cars, for example. But nevertheless, also for hybrid, because of the stop and go traffic we have.
But are they strong like the other cars?
Yes, of course.
They have the same force?
The only disadvantage of some electric cars is the range of the battery. The range of the battery during the past couple of years have been between 100 to 200 kilometers. Nowadays, the range, the battery range went up to between 200 and 450 kilometers. Of course, the weather is a key factor. If it's very cold, then the range of the battery will decline. If it's also very hot, like above 30 degrees or 35 degrees, the range will also decline. But nevertheless, the average of the electric cars range is now 300, let's say 300 kilometers. This is more than enough for anyone commuting, even if you're commuting from 6th of October City to, for example, to the Gamma, you don't need more than 150 kilometers a day. And if you need to extend your trip, then of course the hybrid car is the most ideal solution, because you will never run out of battery, because you have a gasoline engine or a diesel engine which can charge the batteries while you're driving. So there are, as you might know, the Egyptian government and the custom authority already grants 25% discount on the hybrid cars. But the problem is that the car companies in Egypt, they're not interested actually so much in importing hybrid cars, because this means I need to train my staff, I need to train the mechanics, I need to have to buy new spare parts for millions of Egyptian pounds, and of course I have to enlarge the capacity of the service stations, which will also cost millions of pounds. So they're not interested. They want the traditional cars because they're much cheaper than the electric and hybrid cars, and this means they will be able to maintain and keep their huge profit margin.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mr. Shtta, I'd like to ask you about the goals of the competition itself and its criteria for participation. Would you talk to us more about it?
Yes, actually the goal is, of course, to encourage students in developing new technologies and enhancing their skills and developing their skills. And I'm sure that Mohamed and his team, they surely learn lots about teamwork and how to solve problems, because they faced a couple of problems, if I'm not mistaken, at the first day, or actually not at the first day.
In the preparation of the competition, we had a problem with that some parts were damaged from us as we were doing our trials, and we called the officials and asked them for spare parts. They said maybe spare parts, and we tried to fabricate new parts to our car, and this parts does the inspections, and we could get the first place in the hybrid car.
So this is actually the crisis management and solving problems on the spot is actually one of the key goals. Actually, there was a team from the State University of Michigan who were doing a presentation at the event. I don't know if we have the video of them. And actually, it was such an enthusiastic and such an inspiring presentation. And these gentlemen, they were actually, I think, invited by the U.S. Embassy here in Cairo to come and assist the Egyptian students and tell them about how they have been competing in those championships since 1990.
Mr. Mohamed, we're going to take Linda Abdulatif from Sharm el-Sheikh. She's going to update us about the Ministries of Defense Sahel and Sahara meeting. Hello, Linda. Linda.
Good morning, Dina.
Good morning, Linda. What
well, Dina, I'm being joined right now by Mr. Mahmoud Auka, who's the Permanent Secretary of Somalia's Ministry of Defense. Your Excellency, thank you so much for being with us today on Nile TV International.
Thank you for receiving me. Thank you very much.
Let's start off first with how Somalia's government is working on countering Shabab militant group.
Somalia's government is diligent in fighting terrorism, and in fact we have been in a very difficult situation because at the same time we're building our army. After 20 years of war, we are fighting terrorists. So it's a bigger challenge for us compared to other countries.
And now, speaking about the defense ministers meeting of the community of the Saharan countries, which will take place tomorrow, how do you see the importance of this meeting, and to what extent do you believe that it will help in forming or encouraging African and Arab countries to cooperate together and find a solution to the ongoing problem of terrorism?
It will be very important because we'll be sharing information, coordination, and also logistic support, and I think if we understand each other and come together, we can achieve a lot in fighting terrorists.
Now, what are we expecting to know today during this preparatory meeting?
Well, yesterday's meeting we discussed a lot, and we hope also today's meeting Egypt also may propose creation of a terrorist center, which we think is a very good idea, which we will welcome and we will think should be done.
Now, tomorrow also representatives or ministers from a number of European countries like Spain, France, Cyprus and Greece will actually be participating in this defense ministers meeting. What will they be speaking about during that meeting, especially that it is a meeting about the Arab and the African region?
Well, I think the interest when it comes to fighting terrorism is worldwide, and it affects all of us. As you understand, yesterday we had a problem in Brussels. So this is a worldwide problem, and I'm sure the contribution of these countries and organizations is very important for Sahel and Sahara countries. And I think the meeting will be also beneficial to everybody.
Sir, thank you so much for being with us today on Nile TV International.
Very much appreciated. Thank you. Shukran.
Well, Dina, this was our interview with Mr. Mohamed Awka, who's the Permanent Secretary of Somalia's Ministry of Defense. Do stay tuned for more coming up on Nile TV International from the resort city of Sharm el-Sheikh.
Well, thank you, Linda, for this interview. For sure.
Well, unfortunately, the time of our episode is up, so I have to thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Mohamed Shtta, automotive expert, as well as Muhammad Ali, and congratulations on winning second place at the race.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us. And just one last request. I hope that all the ministries and all the companies in Egypt, that they would really support the universities, especially universities like the South Valley University.
Actually, we are out of time.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, now it's time to wrap up breakfast show, and before wrapping it up, I'd like to thank Dina. Thank you very much.
Thank
Dina.
you, Rosha.
Thank you
so much.
And I wish you all a beautiful morning, and please stay tuned for more coming up on breakfast show, and follow us on breakfast show tomorrow with a new team. And now, have a good morning.